price is always like a product of supply and demand, and only cutting supply but not doing anything about the demand side is not going to work, right? Now, it's one of the two variables that have to be addressed, but it's not a sufficient one. So, let's see what happens to the price. I mean, we all want to see the price go up. If it doesn't go up, right, it can be either one of two things, right? Either the supply hasn't been sufficiently cut, or more likely there isn't enough demand, right? I guess a better way of saying it is we have to work on both, right? So I consider this, first halving here that is coming up in March, a very positive step, right? I very much, like, as an investor, agree with the point that inflation has been too high. It also has been higher than in most other ecosystems, just like, so take that kind of reference point, even though I guess there is no perfect number here. But I guess the bigger question is more around the demand side, right? So supply side, okay, we kind of got that solved, so to speak. We have to improve the messaging externally, but it's kind of solved. But the demand side is like an entirely different beast, right? And there are some interesting, ideas here. Again, this goes back to this sort of more product-focused, future that Parity is trying to build. There are many ways to try to lock up, like, dot in liquidity pools, to use it as fees, to use it as collateralization for like a pUSD, right? Which in itself could also be like a pretty big one if that's executed well. But yeah, so it's supply and demand. Just the inflation, cutting the inflation schedule in itself, or like inflation is the wrong word, like the new issuance schedule, that in itself is not gonna be sufficient, but it's definitely the first piece of the puzzle.